I'm watching the tutorial for Flight of the Bumblebee and listen to what the guy says.
This is by far the most difficult thing I've made on this website, and you shouldn't expect yourself to, come away with playing this piece in like a month or so. No, you're gonna need to sort of work your way up to it. And a lot of you that don't have foundations laid in piano playing will find it even more difficult.
Shouldn't expect to learn it in a month. Great start to the challenge. So this month my challenge is to learn the insanely difficult piano piece, Flight of the Bumblebee. It's kind of like a classic piece. It's just so hectic. It's one of those pieces that maybe if you haven't heard of, when you listen to it, you'll almost definitely know it because you hear it in movies and plays and it's all over the place. I do actually have a bit of experience with piano. I'm more or less self-taught. I had a year or two of classes when I was like 6 or 7, didn't like them. I'd say the time that I actually started getting good at piano, I was once in a relationship, I was in love. My girlfriend showed me her favorite piano piece, which was Clair de Lune, a classical piece, really beautiful. And I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if I learnt this for her one day and played it for her? I thought that'd be really cool. And then, a year and a half later, we broke up and I saw that there on my phone as this idea that I really wanted to do for her. And I never got to do it. And I thought, she's an amazing person. She deserves someone to do this for her. So I spent the next 6 months playing about half an hour to an hour every day. I learned the piece, I recorded it crappily, put it up, sent it to her, and it was a really nice thing, and I was really happy that I got to do that for her. And I started to get okay at piano after that. But still, that was really challenging for me. It took me 6 months of dedicated practice. That's a difficult piece, but Flight of the Bumblebee is completely next level in difficulty. So I thought this month, why don't I pick something crazy hard, really challenge myself and try to compress it all into a month. Because it's something that I know a little bit about, I can maybe teach you guys along the way on how I approach learning a piano piece. And if you do want to get started in piano, or if you are currently playing, this is a way you can improve. So let's jump into it. So I'm using this online resource called Smart Classical Piano, where the instructor Igor breaks it down note by note and into these little sections that you can learn. I start with the right hand because that's usually the easiest, and I'll slowly play that until I start to feel a little bit comfortable, and then add in the left hand. Usually when I start playing, I can't even hear the piece because it's so slow, it's broken, and I'm making mistakes, but I'll just keep slowly working on it, and it can be really exciting when you're just learning a piece to start to actually hear the piece in the notes that you're playing. And that's usually the first little win that you feel and that excitement that carries you on to continue learning to the next section. So it is day 3 of the Learn Flight of the Bumblebee challenge. I basically had to take yesterday off because I was actually in a lot of pain in my arm just from trying to play fast. My arm really started to seize up. So today, my arm is still a little bit tender, honestly. I'm just gonna try to progress with the piece, learn more. Little tip that I do. So while I'm learning something new, there is the pushing period of constantly learning something new. So you wanna make sure that you're not just continually practicing the same part over and over, even if you haven't nailed it. You wanna spend a percentage of your time learning something new. But then while you're learning something new, you wanna go back and then revisit everything that you've just learned previously, because you don't want the new things to kick out the old things that you've learned. You learn something new, so you progress, then you revise everything that you've done, then you progress, then you revise what you've done previously and the new section, and there's a constant revision period. So in the revision periods, you're tightening it up, you're hopefully improving the speed. You need to make sure you're pushing ahead, or otherwise you get very stagnant in actually learning something. That's my brain. Oh man, my head. Losing my mind. This is actually shaping up to possibly be one of the hardest challenges I've ever had to do. In my head I was like, cool, it's piano, I know piano, I can figure this out. I didn't know how hard it actually was until I've actually started playing it. It's pretty freaking hard. So I'll give you an attempt of playing the piece to show you where I'm at. Let's give it a go.
I'll be completely honest, when I heard that was what you had decided to undertake, I was a little bit worried. You've chosen a very tricky piece. I would choose something that doesn't take as much technical prowess. It's a very technically demanding piece. So I guess my first question is, how are you finding it? What are your thoughts on your...
It's an insane piece. Like, clearly it's insane.
It is.
Throughout the month, I reached out to Igor from Smart Classical Piano, and he was nice enough to actually help me with the piece and give me some feedback and listen to how I was going. So Igor is an amazing classical pianist, and he's created this amazing resource that I've been leveraging to learn the piece. He actually told me that of all the students that have tried to learn it, no one has successfully learned this piece.
You'd be one of the first. This is interestingly one of the most popular videos that I've done. We have a submission system for our members. Nobody has ever submitted the full thing from beginning to end.
Wow. So what is the history behind this crazy piece, The Flight of the Bumblebee? It was actually written by a Russian composer called Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov. He was famous for taking all these instruments and using the orchestra to create sounds that really sounded like something that was going on. So the piece was actually written for an opera called The Tale of the Tsar Sultan. And in the story, a prince gets turned into a bumblebee by a magic swan and needs to visit the Sultan in secret. And that's really what the music is trying to portray. A bumblebee flying around, trying to be undercover and then sneaking their way out of the Sultan's castle. And interestingly enough, this piece, it's so fast and technical that the Guinness World Records uses this piece to test the fastest guitarist and the fastest violinist in the world. This is the official piece that they use. Currently, the world record for guitar is an astonishing 620 BPM, which is insane. So one of the challenging things with this piece, other than it being just a crazy piece, is the technical difficulty of just moving your fingers so fast. And so one of the challenges for me is the fatigue that really sets into my arm when I try to play things fast. When I first started playing this piece, it was burning my arm ridiculously. And I was wondering, even if I mentally could learn the piece, could I physically actually play the piece? One of the things I've learned throughout the process is trying to actually relax. So when you're playing something really fast, you kind of want to tense up. You want to tense up and bring strain into your arms as you're trying to quickly go through it. But you actually really want to relax. Your fingers are like spaghetti and they're just relaxing on the keys.
You kind of roll, like a little bit like rolling an orange down the keys. You want to feel as though each of the fingers is kind of flopping over one another instead of each one waiting for its turn and then playing. Because one thing that I'm noticing when you're playing is your thumb is a little bit stiff, and I'm assuming that when you try to play faster, that's what causes the shooting pains.
Another thing is, in the piece, there's a part where it actually switches to the left hand. So my right hand gets a break, and you do about 5 of those. It's quite a decent section for your arm to rest. And so sometimes if I'm really tired, I might just keep this going a little bit longer. Kind of shake out this hand, and then get ready. It is pretty right hand heavy. Remember that there is a break kind of coming up for your right hand. That's something that I kind of look for throughout the piece. That technical component has been one of the really big challenges of this piece. And with every piece, it has its nuances, and that's the thing that makes this piece so unique, that kind of right hand lick. It's very easy to get caught up doing the same thing over and over again and not actually progress. Very important to force yourself to progress. There's 8 parts, and I am up to part 7. Something very, very exciting is happening right now. I'm learning the final part of this piece, which is so exciting. It feels like I've been in a marathon. I've got 5 minutes left of instructional videos to get through, and then I've memorized at least every single part of the piece, and then it's about actually playing it well, which is a whole other challenge. Let's learn the final descent and the finale. I've been learning this crazy piece for 30 days and I thought it'd be cool to film it in a pretty cool location. So luckily I've had access to this awesome venue called The Ivory here in Australia. And I get to play on this grand piano, which is cool because it sounds beautiful, but the keys are a little bit heavier. So it just adds a little bit of burden to my already very sore hand. But I'm super excited to be here and to give it my best. It's been a hard challenge. Like 30 days is not a long time to like get the muscle memory of such a crazy piece. Next month, my challenge is actually going to be revisiting my last 24 challenges. So I've been doing these challenges now for 2 years, and next month I'm actually going to revisit them. I always get asked, are you still meditating? Are you still bodybuilding? Can you still juggle? And so I'm going to be revisiting everything. If you want to check that out, subscribe, and I'm excited to put that together. But let's get into the piece and let me know what you think.